Okay, Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone for our Tuesday evening discussion on Nectar of Devotion. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnana-anjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam karoti vachalam Pangum langhayate girim Yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarin Paramanandamaadhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay, Hare Krishna once again. Welcome everyone. So we started Nectar of Devotion. Last time we had one class on Nectar of Devotion so far, where we covered the introduction to Nectar of Devotion and we covered the first chapter of Nectar of Devotion. So we'll go have a slight recap of what was discussed in the last session, and then we'll continue from that and also discuss the overall flow of the book also. So we discussed last time, Nectar of Devotion is written by Sri Rupa Goswami, and we are called Rupanugas, following in the footstep of Rupa Goswami, who is one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan as the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Rupa Goswami written Nectar of Instruction and Nectar of Devotion. So these are the 2 very important books. And Nectar of Devotion is speaking about Bhakti, the different limbs of Bhakti, what to do in Bhakti, what not to do in Bhakti, and what are the different types of Bhakti. Okay, so, and how different activities have been arranged for us to progress in Bhakti. So when we discuss Nectar of Devotion, you will see what kind of all different activity we do in our daily practice, in our temple, different activities which happen. Those are all actually coming from Nectar of Devotion. So to start with, we talked about the definition of Uttama Bhakti. Okay, what is Uttama Bhakti? Anybody remembers the definition of Uttama Bhakti or one particular shloka which we quoted to define Uttama Bhakti?
Anikullenu Krishnanu Shelanam.
Yes, so that is the second part of the shloka. So it starts with Anyabhilashita Shunyam Gyan Karmadi Anavritam Anukulena Krishna Anushelanam Bhaktir Uttama. Okay, so that is the definition of Uttama Bhakti. So everybody should remember this shloka, the definition of Uttama Bhakti. So we discussed the different aspect of the shloka also. So everybody should know the definition of Uttama Bhakti. So Bhakti is which is favorable to Krishna, which is by following in the footstep of the previous acharyas, which is free from any other desire, especially from jnana, karma, adi. Okay, so it says adi. Adi means etc. Etc. includes many things. So free from the fruitive mentality, free from the jnana mentality, free from the yoga or the material enjoyment kind of aspects. So anya abhilashita shunyam. There is no other desire than to please Krishna. It is free from all these different tendencies. It is favorable to Krishna, and it is by following in the footstep of previous acharyas. So that is the definition of Uttama Bhakti. So all the devotees should know this definition. Even if you are sleeping and somebody wakes you up and asks you what is the definition of Uttama Bhakti, you should be able to tell. Okay. this shloka. So you should be able to tell the shloka. So what is bhakti is which is favorable, the activities which are favorable for Krishna. It means that activity includes the intention. Okay, it's not simply the activity. It is the intention to please Krishna. The intention is to please Krishna. It's not that the activity pleases Krishna. Yes, because some activity may please Krishna without your intention to please Krishna, but that still does not qualify as Uttama Bhakti. Why? Even the demons who were coming to Vrindavan and attacking on Krishna, it was giving pleasure to Krishna. Okay, Krishna was enjoying. Krishna was kind of playing around with them and then killing them. So Krishna was enjoying. But that cannot be, that activity of the demons coming and attacking on Krishna cannot be classified as bhakti because they did not have the intention to please Krishna. Even though Krishna was having fun, Krishna was enjoying, but their intention was not to please Krishna. On the other side, in the Damodar Leela, we see Mother Yashoda as she was feeding Krishna, and then she puts Krishna down and goes to save the milk in the kitchen, and Krishna becomes very angry. So the activity of Mother Yashoda, what she was doing, it actually angered Krishna. But her activity classifies as Uttama Bhakti because her intention was to serve Krishna, her intention was to please Krishna. Whatever she did, she even put Krishna down and goes in the kitchen to save the milk, but that was for the pleasure of Krishna, to serve Krishna. So the activity, whichever we do, should have the intention to please Krishna. Our movement is called ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Okay, we do so many activities. Our organization is not International Society for Krishna Activity. Okay, that okay, we are doing podcasting or we are doing this activity, that activity. So whatever activities we are doing, if our intention, our consciousness is not there in those activities, we do not get as much benefit of those activities. For example, somebody comes to temple and do the pot washing, but while doing pot washing they're not understanding the importance that, oh, this pot washing is also to please Krishna. Our consciousness should be absorbed in Krishna that time during that activity. But if somebody is coming and doing the pot washing and their whole consciousness is just talking with each other and talking some office related things and some other material things, even though they are doing that activity of pot washing, but it will not be giving them that enough result of bhakti. Okay, so intention should be there to please Krishna, and it should be by following in the footstep of authorities. We cannot concoct any activities that, oh, I will do what I like, I will do when I like, I will do what I like, when I like, how I like. Right? That attitude is very dangerous. So one should follow what is being told as previous acharyas rather than concocting one's own method. So that is the definition of Uttama Bhakti. And then we talked about the 6 characteristics of Bhakti. So who remembers the 6 characteristics of Bhakti?
क्लेशाग्नि शुभदा मोक्षलघुता कृता संद्रामि श्रीकृष्ण आकर्षणे.
Yeah, so you missed one. Good. So see, again, we should try to remember these 6 characteristics of Bhakti. What are the things which come as a result of Bhakti? So the first thing is Kleshagni. Okay, it removes all the miseries of life. Okay, it has the power. The Bhakti has the power to remove all the miseries of life. Kleshagni. Then the second one is, what was the second one?
शुभदा.
Shubhadha, all auspiciousness. Okay, so Bhakti brings all auspiciousness in the life. The third one is Moksha. It can derive the happiness of getting the impersonal liberation. because there is three type of happiness: happiness of material enjoyment, the happiness of getting the impersonal liberation, and then happiness of devotional service. Okay, the material enjoyment, the happiness in material enjoyment is compared to the water drop on the hot tawa. So the water falls onto the hot surface and it just evaporates immediately. That is the happiness derived from material enjoyment. Happiness of impersonal liberation is like the water found on the hoof print. So that much is the happiness of material of this impersonal liberation. And the happiness found in the devotional service, in the spiritual ecstasy, is like the vast ocean. That is why it's called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Okay, the nectar which is derived from bhakti is like an ocean. So the third characteristic was moksha lagutakrit. It can derive the happiness found in the impersonal liberation. The fourth one is sudurlabha. It is rarely achieved because Krishna does not award his prema bhakti to anybody and everybody. Because when Krishna awards that Uttama bhakti, the prema bhakti, Krishna becomes bound by the devotee. He becomes a servant. Like Krishna was bound by the love of Arjuna and he became the chariot driver of Arjuna, doing as a menial service for his devotee. So the fourth characteristic is Sudurlabha. The fifth one is Chandrananda Visheshatma, that it gives condensed bliss. The bliss found in bhakti is unimaginable, unmeasurable. And then the sixth one is Sri Krishna Akarshani, that only pure bhakti attracts the heart of Krishna. Okay, so these are the six characteristics of bhakti. Now, that was the first chapter of Nectar of Devotion, the characteristics of bhakti. Now, before we move on to the next chapter, I will maybe go over briefly the overall flow of Nectar of Devotion. What are the overall content of the Nectar of Devotion? So basically, in Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami talk about three type of bhakti. Okay, one is sadhana bhakti, second one is Raganuga Bhakti. The third one is Ragatmika Bhakti. Now, from chapter 2 to chapter 16, pretty much, it goes on up to chapter, yeah, so up to chapter 14. So from chapter 2 to chapter 14, it will be going over Sadhana Bhakti, describing the various aspects of sadhana bhakti, the explanation of 64 limbs of sadhana bhakti, and then it ends with, in the finally in chapter 13, it concludes with, out of those 64, the 5 most potent forms that evoke bhava, okay, even in a neophyte devotee. So the 5 most potent limbs of bhakti. So that is chapter 13. So from chapter 2 to chapter 13, we'll be going over sadhana bhakti, the various limbs of sadhana bhakti, the offenses to avoid, the techniques of hearing and remembering, serving in friendship, being basically serving Krishna as a servitude, friendship, and Atmanivedana. So all those different things. Then chapter 14 will be other spiritual path, which can also help in some way further to develop at least the saintly qualities, which is at least following the Varnashram Dharma, developing Jnana and Vairagya, and then developing the saintly qualities. Then chapter 15, Rupa Goswami talk about Ragatmika Bhakti. Okay, so Ragatmika Bhakti, which is spontaneous bhakti. And then chapter 16 is Raganuga Bhakti, which is spontaneous practice. So somehow Rupa Goswami has put Raga Anuga Bhakti later than Ragatmika Bhakti. But as we go, we will cover Raga Anuga Bhakti first, because in chapter 2, we'll discuss Raga Anuga Bhakti also comes under Sadhana Bhakti. So in Sadhana Bhakti, there are 2 categories. So we'll discuss that. So that is kind of as the overall flow of the book. And in chapter 2, now we are going to move into chapter 2 talks about the first stage of bhakti. Okay, so first stage of bhakti is sadhana bhakti. how one gets sadhana bhakti, what is the qualification to get sadhana bhakti, what is the definition of sadhana bhakti, first of all. So we'll start with that. Now, as I mentioned, devotional service is divided into three categories. Okay. One is devotional service in practice, which is called sadhana bhakti. And then basically Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, vidhi. So from the word vidhi comes Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Then the second category is the devotional service in ecstasy, which is Raganuga Bhakti. Okay, so which is spontaneous practice of bhakti. It is still sadhana bhakti, but now there is some spontaneous attraction there for the Lord. So that is Raganuga Bhakti. And then the third category is devotional service in pure love of God. Okay, Ragatmika Bhakti, which is at the stage of Bhava Bhakti or Prema Bhakti. Now, all these three different categories of devotional service, it leads to different characteristics of bhakti. So we talked about 6 characteristics of bhakti. So each type of bhakti, now there are different characteristics of bhakti which are evoked by one particular type of bhakti. For example, the first category, devotional service in practice, the Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Vaidhi sadhana bhakti gives first two characteristics of bhakti, which is kleshagni and shubdha. Okay, so even by practicing Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, by following the rules and regulation, by following the direction of the spiritual master, as being told, just doing by rigid practice, it also gives rise to these two characteristics of bhakti. It removes all the miseries and it is all auspiciousness. Then the devotional service in ecstasy, Raganuga Bhakti, it involves 4 characteristics of bhakti. Okay, the first 4, Kleshagani, Shubdha, Moksha Lagudakrit, and Sudurlabha. So coming to the stage of Raganuga Bhakti is also considered as Sudurlabha. It's rarely achieved. And it derides the pleasure attained from impersonal liberation. And then what to speak of going to the level of Ragatmika Bhakti, which is devotional service in pure love of God, doing Bhava Bhakti or Prema Bhakti. It gives rise to all the 6 characteristics of Bhakti. Kleshagni, Shubdha, Mokshalagutta Sudurlabha, Chandranand Visheshatma, and Sri Krishna Akarshani. Because the pure love of Godhead, the Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti, that is what attracts Krishna. Okay, that is what gives pure condensed bliss. So remember, 3 types of bhakti. Bhakti can be performed in 3 stages. First one is devotional service in practice, Vaidhi Bhakti. Second one is devotional service, spontaneous practice, which is Raganuga Bhakti. Third one is devotional service in pure love of God, Ragatmika Bhakti. Okay. Now let's discuss Vaidhi Bhakti. Okay, so we are going to start discussing Sadhana Bhakti in the form of Vaidhi Bhakti, devotional service in practice. So what is the meaning of devotional service in practice? What is the purpose of practicing devotional service? To wake up our natural imposition, okay? To wake up our natural love for the Lord, which is hidden in the heart, which is dormant in the heart. And by regular practice, it can be awakened. So it's not that this love for the Lord has to be introduced somewhere from outside. Love for the Lord is there. This is the natural position of the living entity. It's the constitutional position of the living entity. But right now, it is in the sleeping state. So the potency is there in the living entity, but we have forgot that. Okay, it's in the hidden form, it's in the sleeping form. So by practice, by certain practice, that love of Lord which is dormant in us can be awakened. And the examples, Prabhupada writes the example here in the second chapter, like the child. The child has the potential to walk, and when the parents help the child, make him practice to walk, the slowly the child will learn to walk, because at least the potential is there in the child to walk. But now the human baby, human boy, does not have the potential to fly. So no matter how much you try to practice, you cannot make him fly, because that is not natural for the child. Yeah, if it was the baby bird, yes, the baby bird has that potency, and by practice he will learn to fly, but not the human child. So whatever is the natural potency available, with practice, that can be evoked, that can be awakened. Same way, now the doctor can revive the normal condition of the patient. If somebody has lost his memory, okay, so the doctor can help him revive his memory. So same way, the love for the Lord is dormant in our heart, and by practice, the regular practice of bhakti, sadhana bhakti, by following the particular guidance, the rules and regulation as given in the scriptures and as directed by the authorities, the spiritual authorities, one can ultimately go to the stage of bhava bhakti and prema bhakti. So as I said, sadhana bhakti is also of two types, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and raganuga bhakti, which is spontaneous practice. Now Vaidhi bhakti, as is defined here, what is the definition of Vaidhi bhakti? When there is no attachment or no spontaneous loving service to the Lord, but one is engaged in Lord's service simply out of obedience to the order of the spiritual master, or in the pursuance of the scriptures. So one just follows the direction of the spiritual master or the direction of the scriptures out of obedience, out of obligation. Okay, one may not have that desire to do that loving service, that is, there is no spontaneous loving service, but one still does it out of obedience, okay, out of obligation, by following the particular direction, by following the particular rules and regulation. So that is the definition of Vedi Bhakti. So we start from the level of Vedi Bhakti, right? How we all came in the practice. We were told, oh, do this, even though we may not have the desire, we may not have the inclination to do that activity, but we just do this out of obligation, out of obedience. So that is Vedi Sadhana Bhakti. Now, how the Vedi Sadhana Bhakti is done? So it says we follow certain rules. So all the Vidhi, which is defined in the scripture, the ultimate essence of all that is so we can remember Krishna all the time. Okay. And all the Nisheda, what is the Nisheda? The prohibition is never forget Krishna. So all the rules and regulation of the scripture, because sometimes we may find in the scriptures there are conflicting statements. Some statement may contradict with each other. But the ultimate essence is all the rules are to help us always remember Krishna. And all the nisheda, the prohibitions, are to help us never forget Krishna. Okay. That's why this statement is used so often. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And sometimes we think, what is the difference in two? Both are pretty much same and it appears redundant. But there is a difference. Always remember Krishna means do those activities which will help you remember Krishna. And never forget Krishna means avoid those activities which can lead you to forgetfulness of Krishna. Okay. So ultimately, all the scriptural injunctions in terms of the do's and don'ts are to help us always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And by following all those rules and regulation, if somebody is practicing bhakti, that is Vedi Sadhana Bhakti. And what is the fruit of Vedi Sadhana Bhakti? Okay, so if one regularly executes such service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, under the direction of bona fide spiritual master, under the direction of the senior devotees, then gradually he rises to the platform of Prema Bhakti. Okay, that is the conclusion from Narada Pancharatra. So Vedi Sadhana Bhakti, even though in the beginning one is performing out of obligation, out of obedience, but it has the potential to lead one to the level of Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. And progress in Bhakti depends on the attitude of sadhaka. Okay, again, this is very important statement here. The progress in Bhakti depends on the attitude of sadhaka. So what to speak of progress in Bhakti? Let's say progress in life, in journal, depends on the attitude of the person. Okay, and what are the different components which make up our attitude? Okay, sometimes we use this word attitude a lot. Okay, oh, this person has a big attitude, this person has a... So what is attitude? Okay, what are the components which make up our attitude? बोलते हैं "अरे, ये बड़ा attitude दिखा रहा है." So what is attitude?
Prabhuji, attitude means our willingness towards service.
Okay, attitude is our willingness for service. Okay, everybody try to say one maybe point. What do you think? What is attitude? What are the components of attitude?
Being humble.
Okay, being humble.
Body language.
Body language. Okay.
The way you approach with the feeling and emotion, approach the subject, whatever you are doing is attitude, really, the way you are approaching that thing and with all the intention and
Okay,
attitude.
intention. Okay, I will take intention word from here, from your phrase, from your sentence. So what kind of intention we have? Okay. So basically, when we say attitude, okay, there is good attitude, bad attitude, right? So the different components which we are talking about here, both aspects are there. Okay, if the positive side of that particular thing is there, then it will conclude towards the positive attitude, the good attitude. If we take the negative side of that particular quality, then it will lead to the negative attitude or the bad attitude. So what are the different elements, different components on which makes up the attitude is how active somebody is or how lazy somebody is, right? His activeness or laziness. Okay, is somebody ready to stay within his comfort zone or ready to stretch himself out of the comfort zone? Is the person self-centered or the person is selfless? Is the person willing to accept responsibility or the person is irresponsible? Is the person showing a lot of enthusiasm or the person is not having enthusiasm? Is the person showing a lot of determination or it is lack of determination? If the person is showing a lot of commitment or there is lack of commitment? Is the person showing service attitude or the person is having self-centeredness? So these are the different elements. So if we take the positive side of each element, it will result into a good attitude, positive attitude. And if we take the negative aspect of the each element, it will result into a negative attitude, the bad attitude. So progress in bhakti depends on the attitude of sadhaka. Okay, what are these different elements are there? If the person is really enthusiastic, determined, committed, responsible, okay, is he having a good service attitude? So all these things, and if the person is willing to come out of his comfort zone, so all these elements will help one to progress in bhakti. And as I said, not just bhakti, basic success in life also depends on all these factors. So if, for example, somebody is doing particular activity, somebody is coming in the process of bhakti and he is very enthusiastic, so he will attract the attention of other people. Somebody will be willing to spend his time, his energy on that person. But if the person does not show any enthusiasm and he does not show up regularly, then in the beginning, the devotees may spend their time and energy on that person, trying to follow up, call him, ask him, please come, why are you not coming? But if the person shows the same attitude, same behavior, does not show the commitment, does not show the responsibility, does not show the accountability, then slowly what will happen? Then the devotees will stop showing their interest also in this person, or stop investing their time and energy in that person. So it depends how seriousness, how much enthusiasm one shows in the process. If somebody is assigned some particular activity, some particular service, and one does not show up, then eventually people will stop asking. Okay, so progress in bhakti, Prabhupada is writing in this chapter, the progress in bhakti depends on the attitude of sadhaka. So when we come to the process of Vaidhi Bhakti means we are following the direction. We are following the instructions given by the spiritual master, by the senior devotees, as per the direction of the scriptures. And we just follow those directions and engage in those activities, be it getting up early in the morning, chanting the holy name, hearing about Krishna, reading the scriptures, attending the devotee association, doing some practical service. Okay, so all these activities, we engage in all these different limbs of bhakti under the direction that is called Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, even though we may not have the spontaneous attraction, but we are doing it out of obedience. Now, the next question comes, which will be moving into the third chapter of Nectar of Devotion also. So the next question comes, how does one get bhakti? Even to come to the stage of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, how does one get bhakti? Okay, what is our qualification that we came in the process of bhakti? Anybody?
Because of other devotees?
Okay, because of other devotees. Yes, that is correct. We get bhakti only because of the mercy of other devotees. Okay, bhakti is arising from bhakti only. Bhakti cannot arise from any other activity. Bhakti cannot arise from piety. Bhakti cannot arise from charity. Bhakti cannot arise from our intellectual understanding. So bhakti is given birth by bhakti. If somebody has bhakti in their heart, they can give bhakti. But for us to receive that bhakti, yes, it is given by devotees. We can receive bhakti from others only. But what is our qualification? What is our patrata that somebody is giving us bhakti? Okay, what do you think?
Fortune in the
Uh,
first
Prabhuji,
person.
you have to approach your vivek, namrata, whatever, humility,
Okay.
and belief in the other people's piousness. So basically, Shraddha in the person who is giving you or who is associating you with you
Hmm.
is very important, and trust. I think those are qualities which would really encourage your bhakti. So Vidya, Vivek and Namrata, all those things are important when you go and approach
So,
in bhakti.
yes, those qualities are good. Those are saintly qualities. But is it really important to have that quality to first get bhakti? Because, see, I will give you so many examples. Okay. If we say humility is important to receive bhakti, we see when Prabhupada started this movement, Prabhupada met so many people who were arrogant, but they also became wonderful devotees later. Okay, if we say somebody need intellectual strength, but there are so many illiterate people who got bhakti. If we say, oh, for bhakti, the qualification needed is vairagya. No, the vairagya, even if somebody has kind of no attraction for material enjoyment, somebody is indifferent to the material things or the relationships, still that does not necessarily give bhakti. Because see, consider the example of vairagya, that renunciation, that the non-attachment. By vairagya, if somebody is emotionally and materially indifferent, what happens is that indifference may actually be a hindrance for devotional service, because that person does not have any emotions. Example is there was one person who approached Ramanujacharya. Okay, so his wife has died, and after his wife passed away, he approached Ramanujacharya. He was crying profusely, "Oh, my wife has passed away, and now I have no attraction for this world. Please accept me as your disciple. Now I want to just give my life in devotional service. I want to, under your guidance, I want to just engage in the service of the Lord." So in one sense, we may say, oh, this person was so attached to his wife, he was crying because my wife passed away and I do not have her company anymore. But he approached Ramanujacharya with that kind of morose heart, crying, sad. And Ramanujacharya actually accepted him as his disciple, that yes, I accept you as my disciple and you engage in the service of the Lord. Why? Because at least there are emotions are there, and those emotions can be purified. Okay, those emotions can be purified. Earlier we have emotions for the material enjoyment, we have emotions for our worldly relations. Those emotions can be purified and we can become emotionally connected with the Lord now. On the other side, another person approached Ramanujacharya. He was very kind of renounced, detached. His wife has passed away and he came to Ramanujacharya and said, please accept me as your disciple. I am very detached. My wife passed away and I had no single tear in my eyes. See, I'm such a detached person. And Ramanujacharya actually rejected that person, that you are not fit for devotional service. Why? Because you don't have any emotions. The person who lived with you for so many years, that person has passed away and you have no emotions even for that person, then how will you evoke your emotions for the Supreme Lord? See, at least the emotions have to be there, then those emotions can be purified to connect us with Krishna. So vairagya also is not a necessary qualification. It may actually be a hindrance for our devotional service. So we see education is not very important, because not necessarily that somebody will be able to read the Shastras and all. Somebody doesn't have to be intellectually strong. Somebody doesn't have to be materially opulent, beautiful, powerful to get bhakti. So what is the qualification? What is our patrata to get bhakti? This is our only qualification, our only patrata to get devotional service is our slight attraction for Krishna. So we can get devotional service, we can come to the stage of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti if we have the slight attraction for Krishna. And that slight attraction could be many different ways. Somebody may be slightly attracted to the philosophy. Okay, oh, Krishna spoke this thing in Bhagavad Gita and that is very appealing to me. Somebody may have slight attraction for the deities. Okay, looking at the beautiful dressed deity, and somebody may appreciate, so they have at least that slight attraction for the deity. Somebody has maybe slight attraction for prasadam in the beginning. So our only qualification to get bhakti is in the heart, that slight attraction for Krishna. Okay, now the next question comes, but how do we get that slight attraction? Okay, from where does that slight attraction comes? And that is the point which Bhageshri Mataji answered. We develop that slight attraction in our heart by the mercy of devotees. Okay, the bhakti cannot be obtained by our own efforts. It doesn't start all of a sudden. It's not that in this life we out of nowhere all of a sudden we started bhakti. Okay, bhakti does not start all of a sudden. Bhakti doesn't start by our own effort. It is continuing from our previous lives or previous years. It's not that accidentally we all of a sudden came to the process of bhakti. Somewhere we had got that slight attraction for the Lord, which was given to us by the devotees. And how did that happen? How did the devotees give us that mercy? By our agyat sukriti. Okay, our unknowingly, maybe we did something to either help the devotee or we did something to serve the devotee, that because of their mercy we got that slight attraction for Krishna now. And this is how our bhakti starts. That's why in scriptures it says Guru Krishna Prasad Paya Bhakti Lata Bij. We get this seed of bhakti by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And Krishna gives his mercy to whom his devotees give mercy. So Krishna also does not give mercy randomly to anybody and everybody. Krishna gives mercy to whom the devotee give mercy. So for example, if you are walking by and you saw some devotees on the street who are maybe chanting the holy name, and you also just started participating with them. You have no clue what these words mean, what this Hare mean, what this Krishna mean, what this Rama mean, and somebody just started chanting those holy names. So out of nowhere, somebody just participated in that or appreciated their activity. That resulted into a Gyat Sukriti. Okay, and let's say somebody is used to observing some plants. Okay, he likes to serve the plants, water the plants, and unknowingly he watered tulsi plant, he served tulsi plant. So that is a Gyat Sukriti. His serving the tulsi plant unknowingly became as his Agyat Sukriti, as a devotional service which started his seed of bhakti. So when we have done some Agyat Sukriti, when we have maybe helped some devotees, appreciated them, that devotee has prayed for us. That devotee has given his mercy to us. Maybe he has prayed to the Lord, please shower your mercy on this devotee. So he gets this bhakti. He gets attracted to bhakti. Okay, so by the mercy of devotees, we get that slight attraction for Krishna. Another Agyat Sukriti definition or example could be that we ate Krishna Prasad unknowingly. If we thought, oh, it's very nice preparation, it's very tasty, let me just eat some. So we unknowingly ate Krishna Prasad and we appreciated it. And that was the beginning of our Agyat Sukriti. That was Agyat Sukriti. And when the bank balance of Agyat Sukriti comes to a certain threshold value, okay, that is when we start this process of bhakti. So somebody may have done little bit here and there, and they have been depositing in their bank balance of Agyat Sukriti. And as their Agyat Sukriti bank balance came to a certain level, now they came in this process of bhakti, they came in the association of devotees. So our bhakti, our patrata for bhakti is, yes, that slight attraction for Krishna, but that slight attraction for Krishna also comes by the mercy of devotees. Nobody can say, I became devotee by my own endeavor. That, oh, I was very pious from my childhood and that's why I became a devotee. Oh, I was a very gentle person with great moral values and all, and that's why I became a devotee. Oh, I became devotee on my own. I did not meet any devotees. I just by myself walked into the temple and there I liked it. I went there and I liked the prasad, and that's how I became a devotee. So if somebody, because many times people may claim after they came in the process, after a few years they claim, oh, I was very good person, I just became devotee. It happened for me naturally. It happened with me all of a sudden. I just went to the temple. I like to have prasad, and that's how I became devotee. But one should understand Okay, you went to the temple, you ate prasad, you liked it, but who cooked the prasad? Did you bring it from your home? Somebody cooked it there, right? So devotees cooked it there. Devotees served you the prasadam there. So again, it is the devotee involved there who showered his mercy in the form of prasad. Somebody sometimes say, oh, I went to the temple and there was a class going on. I sat in the class, I liked the class, and that's how I became the devotee. I came in the process of bhakti. So there also, okay, so you went to the temple, you heard the class, you liked it, but who was giving class? Some devotee was sitting and giving class, right? His presentation, his way of explanation, that is what attracted you, that is what appealed to you. So it is again devotee there. So you heard, you appreciated the way the devotee was explaining or the content of that, and that's how you got that mercy of the devotee. Because generally when we go to the temple, even if you do not talk to anybody, you are just standing in front of the deities and the devotee is on the altar doing arati, they pray to the Lord, please shower your mercy on all the assembled devotees here. Okay, so again, it's a devotee's mercy because they are praying to the Lord. They are showering their mercy, and the Lord gives mercy to whomever the devotee give mercy. So we should very clearly understand how we came in the process of bhakti. What is our patrata? Slight attraction for Krishna, but that slight attraction for Krishna is by the mercy of the devotee. Okay, so that is chapter 2 of Nectar of Devotion, where Srila Rupa Goswami is talking about the different type of bhakti and then focusing on the Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Okay, and as I said, from chapter 2 to chapter 14, it will be going in details about the Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. What are the 64 different limbs of Vaidhi sadhana bhakti? And also covering the different offenses to be avoided in bhakti, because offenses are like the roadblocks. Okay, they can choke our bhakti, they can kill our bhakti. We came in the process of bhakti by the mercy of devotees, but now if we offend the devotees, that mercy is taken away. Okay, so we need to be very careful to avoid those offenses. And then finally, we'll be covering the 5 primary limbs of bhakti, which can lead us to the prema bhakti. And then we'll be talking about raganuga bhakti and ragatmika bhakti. Okay, so hopefully the flow was easy to understand for everybody and it is very straightforward and clear. And anybody in the 4 ashramas and 4 varnas can perform bhakti. If somebody is a brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra, ultimately everybody can engage in the process of sadhana bhakti. And again, from the 4 varnas, somebody is sannyasi, vanprastha, grihastha or brahmachari. Everybody can engage in the process of bhakti. Okay, nobody is out of the fold of bhakti. It's not that only one particular ashrama or one particular varna can perform bhakti. All the 4 varnas and all the 4 ashramas, they can perform bhakti. And the overall purpose of varna ashrama is to rise to the love of Godhead. That is the purpose of following the varna ashrama system, that we gradually develop our more and more dependence on the Supreme Lord. Okay, so I will stop here and see if there are any discussion points, any questions.
And only one question I have is, Prabhuji, like you said, somebody gives you bhakti or mercy of bhakti, but one of the way you do it, and I have seen so many instances where our parents is kind of a devotees too, and they make you do things even though you don't understand it. At that time, you feel like they are forcing you for unnecessarily. But sooner or later, I can remember that there are things I didn't like to sit down and do it in a bhajan, and father forced me to do it. And after maybe 30, 40 years, it just grows up and you realize that he was right and some seeds were there, now they are growing up. And I have
Yes.
seen a lot of people with devotional service where their grandmother or mother, and even Krishna says it, and that you Suchinam Shri Matam Gehe, you get birth. So I think parents also has a lot of influence on putting seeds in the bhakti in other association too, because some friends pull you in and all kinds of things. But that is part
Well,
of the mercy too. Hare Krishna.
yes, that is true, because parents, even though they may not be devotee as per what we say in ISKCON, right? They may not be devotee fully, maybe practicing the same way, but at least they also have some devotion. They are also the devotee of the Lord. They may also have chanted the holy name of the Lord. So to some degree, maybe they are also devotee. And if we are following their guidance as they are telling to practice, and even serving the parents, because we have served the devotee in one sense, if they are also devotees. So that also counts as a gyat sukriti, which can give us the seed of bhakti, because they are praying to the Lord, right? Please God, give him right understanding, give him the good intelligence. So that their prayers are also helping in that way.
Hare Krishna.
And I was asked once this question, that okay, in the earlier years, maybe we were the worshipper of some demigods. Does that also help to come to the process of bhakti? What do you think? If somebody was devotee of Shiva, devotee of Durga,
I think
can
it
that also give
does.
bhakti?
I think it does. I think you only told it does in
Did
Bhagavad
I
Gita
say it does?
session.
Guruji, you
Okay,
told that in Bhagavad Gita class.
right.
I think.
So it does, but in which category? We have to remember, we have to be very clear in that. If somebody is serving the demigods with a service attitude, okay, with a service attitude, without a business mentality, then that can also help us to get bhakti, because that same demigod will then direct us on the right path. Okay, if we are approaching the demigods with a business mentality, if we are just going to them for our needs, our desires, then in that category it may not give us bhakti. But if you are just serving, worshipping them with no selfish agenda, you are just doing it for a sake of serving them, then they will guide us to the right source. That okay, you want bhakti, you want to know God, they will direct you to the right path. Okay, so there are so many people who were maybe earlier worshippers of Lord Shiva or Durga, and they came to the process of Krishna consciousness. Because Lord Shiva, ultimately, what does he do? He is a Param Vaishnava, right? He is also devotee of the Lord. He showers his mercy. Okay. And if you pray to the Lord, please give me what you think is the best for me. What is Lord Shiva going to give to you? He's going to give you Krishna Bhakti. He will bless you to get the seed of Krishna Bhakti. So if we are serving if somebody had served the demigod with the attitude of just serving them without business attitude, business mentality, then yes, that can also help the person come to the process of Krishna consciousness. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Now I will ask the question then as a recap otherwise.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Actually, my question is little, I don't know, it is kind of overlapping with the topic, but not exactly. But like as sadhaka bhaktis, we are also like supposed to like give the fruits of our work to Krishna, right? I mean, like the results to Krishna, right?
Yes.
So that is
Yes.
also karma yoga, but so
So Karma Yoga is different. In Karma Yoga, see, what is the difference in Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, first of all? Karma Yoga is you are doing your activity outside of the world, in the outside world, based on what you like to do, but at least you share the part of the results, you give the part of the result to Krishna. Okay, that is Karma Yoga. In Bhakti Yoga, you are doing the activities also for Krishna.
Okay. Okay, but then like our day-to-day activities.
Our day-to-day activity, as I had explained earlier in one of the session, we are following Karma Yoga also, we are following Jnana Yoga also, we are following Bhakti Yoga also.
Okay.
We are doing all three, because you do your professional activity and you give the result of your activity to Krishna. That is Karma Yoga. You do Jnana Yoga also. We are also studying the scriptures, right? You are
Yeah.
also cultivating knowledge, which is part of Jnana. But we do only for the Bhakti Shastras, Bhakti scriptures, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. So we study those scriptures which help us to progress in Bhakti, not just speculative knowledge. And then we engage directly in the process of Bhakti Yoga also, basically doing the direct activities which are devotional activities. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. Okay, so engaging in those activities of Bhakti itself. So yes, we are doing a package of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga in one sense.
Okay. Yeah, I think I do remember you telling that, but I just wanted it again. I kind of got confused. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, so quick quiz, because you have to do your assignments also. So making sure that you are getting the take home messages. What are the three types of bhakti? Just
Vaidhi Bhakti,
Vaidhi Bhakti,
Ragatmika, Raganuga.
yes. So
Ragatmika,
Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti, Ragatmika Bhakti. Okay, progress in bhakti depends on what?
attitude of the sadhaka.
Attitude of the sadhaka. And so I hope you are clear what are the different elements which make up our attitude, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
When we say, oh, somebody is having a good attitude or bad attitude, what does that really mean? So what are the different elements which contribute towards the attitude of the person? And then how one gets bhakti? What is our qualification to come to the process of bhakti? Okay, it does not depend on any other activities of some material piety or our material qualification, our opulence, our beauty, our physical strength, our renunciation, okay, our detachment, or having other qualities of uh, good mannered. All those things does not help. The only main criteria is to have slight attraction for Krishna, and that slight attraction for Krishna comes because of the mercy of the devotees, because of some agyat sukriti we have done, and some devotees have showered their mercy on us. Okay, that is the starting of our bhakti. Okay, so we'll stop here. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu ki jai, Shri Rupa Goswami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Prabhuji, sorry. Actually, recently I just got a question. Like at the time of Prabhupada, when he came to the Western world, America, he has all these foreign devotees. So these devotees were engaged in so many bad activities and all. So are for them as well, the bhakti was this agyata sukruti? Or I
Yes,
heard recently it was kripa siddhi. They were kripa
yeah,
siddha.
kripa. So that kripa is mercy of devotee, right? That mercy of devotee is devotee can shower causeless mercy. The devotee can shower causeless mercy, and Krishna gives mercy whom devotee gives mercy. So one can receive bhakti by the mercy of other devotee. It could be a causeless mercy. It could be that they have done something as a gyat unknowingly, because of which they showered their causeless mercy. So, as I said, when we're talking about the different things which are not really necessary to come for us to come to the stage of bhakti, it does not require that, or somebody has to be very truthful, or somebody has to be free from intoxication, or somebody has to be free from meat eating, because we know all sort of people who were engaged in these activities. Still, they were able to get to the process of bhakti. So the only qualification is slight attraction, and that happens by the mercy of the devotee. Now, when Prabhupada came, some people may have done some agyat sukriti at that time, or bhakti is not just starting from this lifetime. It is coming from the previous lifetimes. So all those people who came in the process of bhakti, they may have done something in their previous life as a Gyat Sukriti, that now they came in touch with Srila Prabhupada, and all of a sudden, because of their previous Agyat Sukriti or the causeless mercy showered by the devotee, they were able to accept this process of sadhana bhakti. Okay? So one particular example I will tell you, a Gyat Sukriti, right? What is a Gyat Sukriti? Even the tendency to give something to the devotee, we don't even understand that, oh, this may also qualify as a Gyat Sukriti. For example, Prabhupada was sitting in the storefront, okay, 21st 2nd Avenue. He is giving a class to a few hippies sitting there, and one drunkard person comes with the roll of toilet paper. He goes into the bathroom. When he enters, open the door and enters into the storefront, all the other hippies sitting there, they look, hey, who has come? And he doesn't say anything. He just goes to the bathroom and puts that roll of toilet paper, and he comes out. It's not that he sits there, listens to the class going on, or attends some kirtan. He just came. He had that tendency to give something. Okay, and he was able to give whatever he had. He had a roll of toilet paper, and he thought, oh, let me just give this toilet paper. They may use it. So he came and gave that toilet paper. And you know what? Where that person may be now, right? He got that Agyat Sukriti because he just served the devotee unknowingly. So these are the examples of Agyat Sukriti, that how the devotee shower their mercy on such people who may have done any tiny some service.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Today's this topic regarding bhakti, what is the qualification, was really wonderful and one of the best topic. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So overall, nectar of devotion is really important. So for me also, I have to read through and listen and maybe kind of put my thoughts together to make it really easy to understand and presentable. And hopefully it will be helpful for all of us.
Yes, Prabhuji, definitely.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. Then with pranam, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining.